You are listening to Rouge Radio, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
It's time to get the point as Rouge Radio is ready to kick off.
Ready!
The best football talk with the best in the business.
So what is the cost? You have 2 first-round picks this year because the Argos were dumb enough to trade for Drew Willie.
A few rookies.
We go directly to the on-field product. We welcome to the show the 20th overall pick in this past Sunday's CFL draft, DeAndre Wright of the Alouettes. DeAndre, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
And the occasional Hall of Famer.
Please welcome Doug Brown, who is one of the members of the current class of 2016 in the CFL Hall of Fame. Doug, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you guys for the kind words and for having me on the program.
Rouge Radio is on the air. Here's your hosts, Robert Dalton and Tony Allen.
Rouge Radio Podcast is powered by the Canadian Football Podcast Network. This is Irv. It's live from Winnipeg, Manitoba, the host of the 112th Grey Cup between the Montreal Alouettes and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. This podcast is sponsored by the good people over at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, enter the promo code Rouge. Your order will be off, discounted 20%, as well as free worldwide shipping. Go to manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. And now it is my honor to introduce the hosts of the show, as you heard during the introduction, Mr. Tony Allen and Robert Dalton. Gentlemen.
Well, thank you. That was kind of professional. Well, that was decent. Didn't trip over your words. Although, if you're watching this, that's a different story. It is. It's episode 543, again, powered by the Canadian Football Podcast Network. Again, you can go to manscaped.com. I'd hate to step over Irv's job duties as the booth announcer, but yes, go to manscaped.com, enter the promo code Rouge. Your order will be discounted up to 20% and, of course, free worldwide shipping. Tony, it's been a week. How's it going, my man?
Mm-hmm. That's going pretty good. Busy at work, busy at home. So it's been a good busy week. So watched both of the games last week, and which is sometimes hard to do with my weird schedule. And hopefully it allows me to watch the Grey Cup on the day, and I don't have to watch a replay later.
Yeah. Let's get into it. Any thoughts on the Eastern and or the Western final? Obviously, if you're living under a rock, you know Montreal won. I think the score was 19-16 off the last second field goal by Jose Maltas with the Montreal Alouettes. And of course, we all know what happened in Saskatchewan. I like to think of it as the BC Lions choke job, but I think you might have some different standards to that.
Yeah, well, and it's funny too, because when I texted you, I was like, I'll get on a soapbox, I'll rant. But let's all be honest, we know I've mellowed out with old age. I don't rant as much. I mean, I get pretty condescending when I talk about some stuff, but at least I stay calm when I do it now and not so self-righteous and loud. But I think in both of those cases, they were good endings. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to say it wasn't an exciting ending, because walk-off field goals are always exciting. I'm just of the belief that neither of those field goals should have even happened. I mean, Hamilton's, that was a long range. That was a good field goal to make. So it's like, it was a little soft defense, and I hate that dropping back. Let's just drop them back, make sure they don't get the big play. And it happened to Hamilton, but still, I think he had to make, 45 yards or something like that. 47 might be too long. But anyway, if you're over 40, it's like, okay, that's a good field goal. But there was still some pretty soft defense that could have prevented it. The bigger case of that would have been BC. Like, I feel like we might have even made this joke. We make so many Simpsons jokes, I don't even remember what applies to what anymore. But it's just that dropping back, prevent style defense. And I just think of Bart, and every CFL coach, defensive coach, just turns into Bart picking rock and paper, rock, scissor. Good old prevent. Nothing beats prevent. Yeah. And on the other side is the offensive core. Like, poor predictable DC. He always picks prevent defense. And then the Tiger Cats one, okay, I was going to say that one shouldn't have happened, but that was a good kick by Montreal. So I'm going to pass on that one. The BC one should have never happened, though, especially when you were, 2nd and 10, and then you decide to give up a 32-yard field goal and put them right down in the red zone. Like it was just bad defense, and they would come up with the big stop and everything was good, and then it's like, let's all fall back and make sure they don't make the big play. It's like, well, why don't you just fall back a couple yards less and not give up first down after first down? It was just, it's just Saskatchewan. And again, I got to choose my words wisely, because I am in no way saying Saskatchewan didn't deserve to win, because they took what BC gave them and they won. I'm just saying Saskatchewan should have never been allowed to win that football game if BC had played it better.
No, I completely agree. And the thing to take into consideration is the time left. I think it was just over a minute left. 77 yards to go for a touchdown. Yeah. No, your prevent defense in that scenario is to not play prevent defense. Like if you're
prevent the win defense is what we like to call it.
Yeah, it's like the only reason that you should be playing prevent defense in this situation is if you're up by 2 scores. Like that's what it is. You play prevent so that you force the offense to take as much time as you can. So even if they do score a touchdown, they don't have enough time to score down the onside kick and score another field goal or a touchdown. This is, you had 77 seconds or 77 yards, just over a minute to score a touchdown. Like if you are at any point a decent quarterback, you don't even need 77. You don't need a 60 seconds. You could do that in like 45 seconds. In reality, it just that's and you know what's really bad about that, because when we started this, I don't know, I can't remember what your preview of the BC Lions is. Mine was, I expect BC's defense to just be crap this year. I saw Mike Benavides come back. I saw what they were returning on the D-line, and I saw what they had in their secondary. Throughout the first half of the season, it was kind of what I expected, minus the secondary. I think the secondary was like really what kept them in a lot of games throughout the season. Then as the season progressed, they added TJ Lee. They added some prospects along the line, some nice additions, and all of a sudden that defense became very, very complementary to their offense that we know was always going to score points. And that's what made BC so legitimately like scary to be facing in November. And then all of a sudden, when push comes to shove, it was like, oh yeah, remember that last 6 games that we've played? Yeah, why don't we just play like we did in 2024? That's essentially it. It was just horrible, like missed tackle, penalty after inconsequential penalties at the wrong time, and it was just and I don't want to rag on this, because it sounds like BC gave this game to Saskatchewan in a way that I guess they did. Saskatchewan still had to complete these passes. Saskatchewan still had to catch the ball. And by the way, if you're an owner, stop getting in on social media for stuff like that. I don't know if you paid too much attention to Amar Doman. Love him as an owner. I love his passion for the game. But man, just stay off social media when it comes to, because it's very cringy. Very cringy.
Yeah.
He posted, and if you're not aware, Amar Doman took a screen cap. Of all things to take a screen cap of, he took a screen cap of Tommy Neal's catch, indicating that the ball hit the ground, which, again, I don't want to go on a soapbox here, but if you're going to take a screen cap, it better be of something that doesn't need that much context to it, right? Like an offside in hockey. In football, when you're trying to say that the ball hit the ground, there needs to be context to that, which means you need video. A screen cap, and a blurry one at that, it just doesn't cut it to me.
No.
Anything you want to add for the finals to that, or do you want to? Did you catch?
No, and here I will say this though, that catch, I don't think it's controversial, because there was no shot that proved he didn't legitimately catch that football. Yeah. And so I don't think there's any controversy. I know after the game, as much as I love Nathan Rourke, I wish he hadn't insinuated that it was a incomplete pass, because it's like, you know what? I could buy that it was incomplete, but there was nothing there to overturn the catch in real time. And unfortunately, Saskatchewan's going to probably have to hear from it. And again, I'm not one to come to the defense of Saskatchewan Roughrider fans. Not that they need it; they're pretty good at sticking up for themselves. But in this case, I think there is no controversy there. It was called a touchdown, and there's none of that video in my belief that would take the touchdown away. As soon as even when I was watching those videos, I'm like, it's going to count. It'll count.
Yeah, no. And
you can't take it away.
No, you can't, because it looked like a catch, and you could have it likely hit the ground first or whatever. You can have that. It likely did, until and you know who's loving that? Stuart Johnson, because the best angle had the goalpost in the way. And Stuart Johnson's like, yeah, this is the reason that we're moving the goalpost to the back of the end zone. Guarantee.
Although on the opposite side, it's funny how the game-winning touchdown was in the center of the field. Yeah, at the goalpost.
Oh, that's
right. Thing was supposed to prevent teams from winning football games. Yeah. And it happened right under the goalpost. So, that completely like just went over my head. I guess it's time to review the 112th Grey Cup, isn't it? Let's try it. Let's do this.
All right, let's get to Irv here.
Rouge Radio Podcast is partnered with the good people over at Sports Interaction. Go to sia.com/Rouge, and your first deposit will be matched up to 100%. As always, please play and gamble responsibly. Gentlemen?
All right, thank you, Vert. All right, the Montreal Alouettes. Now, the Alouettes have the home the home locker room, because I guess they take turns, because of the fact that for whatever reason only West teams have the Grey Cup game. Last year was in BC. I guess the year before that it was in Hamilton, I believe. But last year BC, this year in Winnipeg, next year Calgary, and the year after that is in Saskatchewan. So they have decided to take turns to who's the home team. But Saskatchewan looks like that they are the home team based off, but I'm guessing that's based off a record, but I don't know about it. Saskatchewan is favored by 3.5 points. The over-under is set at 49 even. Looking at practice today, if you go to online, go through DT on OB, that's Derek Taylor from the program, following Montreal, because the key thing here is Davis Alexander's hamstring injury. Seemed to play a little bit of a part in the Eastern Final. Looked like, based off what we saw today, that there was no issues with the hamstring. And of course, in Saskatchewan, they are getting a lot of bodies back, obviously. Relatively unscathed injury-wise last week. Keyshawn Johnson didn't play or didn't practice a heck of a lot today. So that remains to be seen how his plan of action for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But I'll let you start off with this one. I guess the final game, who do you think is going to capture the Grey Cup in 2025?
Well, first, this is the first time Montreal and Saskatchewan have met since the back-to-backs in 2009 and 2010, right?
Yeah.
And I went to both of those. And the 2009 Grey Cup was so mild, like weather-wise. And the 2010 Grey Cup was probably like the second or third coldest game I've ever been to in my whole life. And then I was just thinking about that Grey Cup too. I was trying to look it up there real quick, and it's killing me, because I believe that was the game too where it was so cold. There was a guy from Montreal, and it is one of those Alouettes players where I shouldn't even have to think of his name, and I can't think of his name. A defensive player, but I believe that was the Grey Cup too, where he said it was so cold he peed his pants just to stay warm. He had to go to the washroom, and he openly admitted this, that it was freezing and he had to go to the washroom, so he just pissed himself. God, oh my gosh. And you're going to laugh at me for not having his name, because it's like forgetting Anthony Calvillo from that 2010 roster. He's just one of those guys, and you'll know him, and I'm going to feel like an idiot, but Either way, that one was both good Grey Cups. 2009 was obviously one that's lived in CFL lore forever, and Saskatchewan lost both of those games. And you know what? I doubt there's anyone on either of these teams still around from two. I can't imagine there's anyone around from those two teams. But history is history, and I imagine Saskatchewan wants to erase that part of their history and take home a Grey Cup against the Alouettes. Again, you're not really getting revenge on those two Grey Cups, but it was a pretty rough goal. They eventually won one against Hamilton. But to the actual football, Montreal has been a solid football team. Obviously, the quarterback story in Montreal has been very fun. They were comparing his start to Alexander's start, to Bo Levi Mitchell's start during the broadcast. And it's a fun story. But I think Saskatchewan has just proved that they have been the class of the Canadian Football League this year. Trevor Harris, maybe this is finally his year. And I have been the biggest critic of Trevor Harris since the beginning. I've never been a fan. But in the CFL, it seems like it's those later on in a player's year. That's when he finally gets his Grey Cup, if you're not talking about some of the big names from the 80s and 90s, but it just seems like guys, yeah. So it's like, maybe this is his time. Maybe it's taken all of these losses for finally to get it together. Maybe Saskatchewan just finally has that team that's clicked and is ready to seal the deal. And I mean, I couldn't have been any more wrong about the Saskatchewan Roughriders during our preseason predictions. I had them dead last. I had them, I think, even at 1-17. Just I went all in on how bad they were going to be. So to me, the only poetic ending to this football season is the Saskatchewan Roughriders winning the Grey Cup. And I don't think Montreal has that same chemistry we saw when they went in to Winnipeg and won that one and shocked everybody. And that famous speech, game-winning streak or after Labor Day, and Montreal, we're not going to lose, like, we're going to win. That was great. I don't get that same vibe from this Montreal Alouettes team, and I don't think they truly have the magic. And the fans aside, I have no idea if it's going to be pro Riders fans in Winnipeg. That's a very hard one to call, but I imagine they're going to have a very good showing and give them a little bit of home field advantage there. I think this is going to be all Saskatchewan Roughriders. I don't think we're going to be sitting on a classic here. I think it's going to be pretty much from gate to gate. It's going to be the Saskatchewan Roughriders. There might be a little bit of Montreal offense in there, but I think this is going to be the most dominant win the Saskatchewan Roughriders have ever had. I have them at 42-13. And I don't know. I would love to see an exciting Grey Cup. I'd love to see. I always want the Grey Cup to be a classic. I don't think this one's going to be. I think the Riders were the team of destiny this year, if you can call it that. And I think this is their moment to shine.
To me, I'm looking at the alignment. So you're looking at Davis Alexander against Saskatchewan's back seven. So their secondary and their linebacking core. Very, very evenly matched there. I can't say that the offense, the aerial attack is that much better, but I would have to give the edge to Montreal. On the ground, on their side, that front seven in Saskatchewan against the run is second to none, in my opinion. Especially when they have some rotating players on the line. Like, you got guys like Micah Johnson, who has easily been a powerhouse up the middle, and he doesn't have to be, because he's been given some rest here and there throughout the games of each game. Like that's essentially Corey Mace football. So I think you're going to hit the under on this one, but I have a feeling this is going to be very, very, very likely, or very close to the 2014 Grey Cup, where I think it was Calgary was purely better than Hamilton that game. And then Hamilton just started getting, inching closer and closer. and they almost had that win just snatched from them. I think this is going to be something close to this. I think Montreal is going to pose their dominance over Saskatchewan at this point throughout the first half of the game. And I think you're going to see Saskatchewan inch closer and closer. Field goal here, AJ Ouellette touchdown here, maybe even a Tommy Stevens 3rd-and-1 sneak or 3rd-and-goal sneak at the end zone. But I think it is going to be too little, too late. It's not necessarily going to be a classic, and there's going to be this one instance at the end of the game that is just you're going to think Saskatchewan's going to pull it out and just not. I'm probably going to eat my words, but I think Montreal, and I've said this before, when they had their going down to their 4th-string quarterback, it did expose their defense. But when you have QB1 under center, it makes things a lot more seamless over there. I do think Montreal is the better team overall. I don't think they have a hole on their on their team, on their roster. I don't think Saskatchewan does either, but there are some weaknesses on Saskatchewan's side, and I think Montreal has the coaching to take advantage of that. I do think you'll take the under on this one, but Montreal does eke this one 25-20, becoming Grey Cup champions for the second time in 3 years. So one of us is going to play the Mr. Perfect theme next year. So that's our next week. That is pure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one could be stretching on the Mr. Perfect. When we talked about 2 wins, that was one.
Listen, one
Mr. Perfect. That's
1 for 1 is
yeah. All right. So here, quick 3 quick questions. How much do you remember about the 2010 Grey Cup? MOP was?
I want to say Cahoon or Cavillo.
Jamal Richardson. You probably wanted me to let you keep going. Okay, this is your make good.
Yeah.
Canadian.
Is that Cahoon?
I'll let you have this one. I'm not gonna jump on this one. I'll give you a second to think about it.
No, that wasn't. No, that wasn't Cahoon.
I'll give you a hint. It was for the Riders, despite the loss.
Fantus?
No.
You're
really bad at CFL. No, I'm just joking. It was a while. Who's going to remember this stuff? Seriously.
Yeah.
Do you want to know, or do you want one more shot?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I want to know. This is bad radio right now.
Keith Shulligan. Keith Shulligan got Canadian.
I don't remember that game as much as I do for those two to be the MVP and the most outstanding Canadian. I don't.
I probably wouldn't have picked that either.
Yeah. Like
who sang the national anthem?
Oh, don't I know.
Yeah, I know, right? The Trues sung the national anthem, and the thing everyone loves in the Canadian Football League, the halftime show, was
Blues. Oh man, why am I blanking on that?
Manitoba Band from Winnipeg, Manitoba, playing the Edmonton.
Oh, I know. That's
Cup.
Why am I blanking on that?
Yeah, the Canadian version of BTO or BO, Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah,
wasn't that who it was? No. Yeah,
BTO. Yeah,
they're Canada's answer to Blue or whatever it was.
Yeah,
ELO.
ELO.
ELO. So, we're dropping Simpsons references everywhere. Yeah. It was Bachman Turner.
Okay.
Overdrive.
Yeah. So BTO. Yeah.
Bachman Turner. They're Canada's answers to ELO. Are they taking care of business? Care of business.
Okay. Let's listen. There's going to be emails about this, and someone's going to bring up Luba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you still taking flack over Luba?
No. I haven't listened to a Luba track since then as much as I want to. But no, the flack has decreased on that one.
There you go. Although I would like to see Ottawa host the Grey Cup and the halftime show, Tom Green's early 90 hip hop group, Organized Rhyme. I guarantee there's people that my age still know all the words to check the OR.
Yeah.
I bet you they do.
What's it like so far?
Exactly. Tom Green with his Ottawa Senators hat on.
Yeah.
Love it.
Hey, prediction. Who do you think is going to be the MVP this year?
I think if Saskatchewan wins, it's going to be Trevor Harris. Even if he pulls a Dave Dickinson and isn't even on the field for a single point scored, they're still going to give it to Trevor Harris.
That also happened in Winnipeg.
Moment in the sun.
That game also happened in Winnipeg. That game.
Yeah.
Buck Pierce did the heavy lifting. Paul McCallum scored a lot of the points. Dave Dickinson gets all the glory.
Yeah. He put a jersey on and went in.
He took the majority of the snaps, I can tell you. Much. Most outstanding Canadian prediction?
Ooh, I don't know. Canadians. Oh, you put me on the spot here. I don't know. You take this one. I answered the first one.
Here's a very bold pick. He was nominated for most outstanding defensive player in Canadian. Isaac Adami Berglund. And that's my prediction for most outstanding Canadian this game. Yeah. I think he's going to wreak havoc against that offensive line. As good as they have been this year, I think that Montreal's D-line is able to just crack some holes to create some issues in the backfield in Saskatchewan. So, yeah,
now that we are part of Sports Interaction, I feel like we should have prop bets. I don't know if Sports Interaction has a lot of prop bets on their Grey Cup betting, but
yeah, I have
coin toss.
Yeah, you know what? To be honest with you, I know that I don't know if they are that in depth compared to the Super Bowl prop bets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what color is the Gatorade that gets thrown on the coach, what have you? Hey, big news, possibly. As we alluded to this last week before we end the show. We alluded to Mike O'Shea going to Toronto's possible rumors. Toronto have asked and have been granted permission to speak with Mike O'Shea. Actually concluded an interview yesterday, and someone had spotted Bo Levi Mitchell and Zach and Mike O'Shea boarding the airplane, or at the loading dock, or whatever you call there. Like, it's been a while since
that would be the most Toronto Argonauts thing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
For Mike O'Shea to go back to Toronto and then bring in Bo Levi Mitchell and win a Grey Cup.
Yeah. Did we just stumble upon a conspiracy theory?
I think so. We did.
Yeah. All right. And any final thoughts other than conspiracy theories?
Yeah, no. I mean, there is no thinking left to do. Just make sure you have the day off. Make sure you're at home or with friends, however you like to watch. I'll admit, I was talking to a guy at work as we were on a trip, and I said, I hate watching sports with people because they want to talk to me and they want to talk about things and they want to predict stuff. Like, I'll be 100% honest. I never watch sports with people. I hate watching sports with people because I just want to sit there and watch the game. Yeah. I don't want to have conversations. I don't want to talk about other things than the football game. I just want to be 100% consumed in the game. But mind you, now that I have kids, I do watch with them and answer their stupid questions, because they always have 100 stupid questions. But they're the only ones I like watching sports with.
Yeah, no, it's actually, if I watch a sporting event with a team that I'm really invested in, and not necessarily invested in winning, but invested, like, maybe if I'm like if I got a bet going and I need this to pay out my parlay. Yeah, I do not want to talk to anybody while I'm watching. Mm-hmm. But if I'm watching a game involving two teams I don't give a crap about, and I don't have a bet on it, I'll watch with everybody. Like, that's I'll talk. I'll give my insights why I think that play worked or whatnot. I'll go into, like, Glenn Suter, very annoying color commentator, giving my insights why this happened. Like, I'll be that guy. Mm-hmm. But if it's a team, like, I had some people coming over last year to watch the Grey Cup, and I did not want. I was so invested. I was like tunnel vision watching the game, and I was like, do I want to just ignore my company? No, I can't.
Yeah.
But I can't actually have like it's like a toddler. It's like, oh yeah, that was a very good. Oh my God, Willie Jefferson! I'm like, it's kind of like just interrupting myself.
Yeah, I think I used to go to a couple Grey Cup parties in the past and other things, mostly Grey Cup parties. And if it's a close game, I'm completely detached from the party anyways. And like, you'll have someone talking to you and you can't just turn around and say, listen, all due respect, I don't care about what you have to say right now. I got to focus on this. Like, and the thing is, like, if something happens, I'll cheer in the middle of this sentence because truthfully, I'm not listening to you. Like, I don't want to hear about the summer vacation you took. I don't want to hear about movies. I don't want to hear about your situation. Like, I'm here to watch the football game. And it happens a couple of times. So it's like, I've just realized I've become self-aware and realize I am just not somebody you watch sports with.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, that'll wrap it up for this is the second last, and barring any kind of major news, this might be the second last podcast of the 2025 season. For Tony, I'm Daltz, and specifically the Montreal Alouettes and the Saskatchewan Roughriders, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.